Hey guys, welcome into the PuggoReborn channel. Today I'm going to go over research points, what the best way and also an effective way for pure beginners as to how you should build out your squad, how you should distribute research points, and talking about how you can work around the core. That's what this video is going to be about. As I go into this, if you're a veteran of the game or you've been playing a while, I suggest you go to the end of the video. Let me know what you think about my composition. Because that's my meta build for the Germans on day one. And for those who are brand new, watch the whole video. I think you're going to learn a lot from this. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, of course, I have some guides if you guys would like to check them out to understand the mechanics and what you want to do when it comes to an attack and a defend mission. I do have that. I'll leave that in the comment section below. Or rather, I will leave that in the description section below. However, this morning, I just want to keep it simple. So this is more for the newer players or people that are struggling with how to go about their research. So I'm going to take this as you are a much newer player that just can't get past like 3-4 missions, or you're struggling because there's so much to look at. These are things that I used to do to be able to decide what I wanted to build upon in the game. So let's start with the Germans. What I would start with is go with easy. And this is because I understand, like when I play a game, I always play normal or hard difficulty because I don't want to get stuck in an easy difficulty where I get lost and how good either it becomes too easy or when I make that jump. Sometimes it can be a little daunting because I thought I knew and then I get destroyed. But for the sake of just learning the game, I always tell people go with easy, go with high economy, very high economy. That means that you're going to get more rewards for whatever you do per mission. Always choose 3-star missions. Never choose the 1-star unless it's something you absolutely need, like research. We'll talk about that in just a second, but the idea is economy will boost all of your income or resources that you get when fighting. The next thing, with your campaign size, I would just keep it at medium for now. You can go higher, of course, if you want. Yeah, this is really up to the user. The reason why I say medium is because we are going to get rid of the fog of war. Now, I always felt like when I first played this, in order for me to learn a lot of mechanics, I could either fight my way through it with fog of war, or I could take fog of war off and see what's actually going on the battlefield. See exactly what the enemy is putting out so I can understand how I should be fighting. That is how I learned, and then I threw fog of war on, and it was not a big deal. It ended up changing how I played and gave me a good perspective. So I always say take off the fog of war. So in terms of what you need to do and how you're going to be effective is you need to start with finding a core unit you can build around through the first 10 days, let's just say. Or not even just 10 days. It could be just through the first 3 days. Depending on how your style of play is going to be, is going to dictate these things. There are meta things that allow you to have an advantage over everyone else. But when I look at the research tree, for instance, there's things that you need to understand. While it looks daunting, there are a few units that you can start out with and slowly build out from there. So for starters, when you jump in here, you're going to notice that the infantry tree is massive. It has changed. They've overhauled it more recently. A lot of different soldiers have been added, or squads rather, have been added. After that, you have your flat cannons. Very powerful, very good. Then you have your field guns. You have your artillery pieces. We'll go over that. You have your light vehicles, the half tracks, and the some French vehicles as well. Then coming down, you end up going down the tank line. The tank line is obviously very big and very good, but it's a matter of what tank line do I really want to keep going through. Okay, so we're going to go over all those things, but more importantly, the starter units. So for starters, I always say it's really good to get a new squad or to get a upgraded squad from where you start. The game has changed in terms of what the baseline is for your health and so on. So usually the soldiers that you start out with, they come with 200 HP, but now they have 400. So 400 seems to be the new base, which is huge. In the past, 400 health is just that's just insane. There's just a lot going on there. But The things that you need to look at when it comes to these soldiers is you're going to look at not just the HP, but how much regeneration do you have, not just the stamina. And stamina right here at 125, that's the baseline for stamina as well for just your average unit. And 3 stamina regeneration, which is not great. Now 1.0 speed is the baseline again for speed. So this unit, and when it comes to the weapon skill, you're looking at 3 as your weapon skill being the average. So these guys are literally the epitome of average, but they do come with for instance, a grenadier. It has a heat round, which is great for taking out tanks, light vehicles, so on and so forth. You can always shoot for the turret if it's a bigger tank. If it's like a small tanks as well, take out the turret. That's a big deal. They also have one soldier that has a Gavar 43, which is really nice. That's a newer gun that they added in here. It used to just be the 41, so that's really cool. And finally, coming down, they do come with the MG34, which is really impressive to start out. So, and it's a belt fed, so you get, I think it's 200 to 250 rounds on a belt fed machine gun. So, very, very good. This is not a bad squad to start out with. I could easily suggest, hey, just pick these guys for starters. Just get a few of them, throw them in your call-in, and you'll be good. Now, if I was to suggest something that could give you more, maybe do more for your squad, I would say get the rifle squad, and then when you get through level or your second mission, then I would go to the blue division. Now, the blue division are elite. They are a very elite squad. They have a dead-end tree, but they can last throughout the whole campaign. You heard that correctly. You have 750 base health. That is correct, 750. They have 1.5 regeneration of health, which is like a little minute. Think of a mini Wolverine. Every second they're getting 1.5 worth of health back, and so every 2 seconds 3 health, right? If this unit levels up, as you go on, your veterancy goes higher, you can get regeneration, I think, up to 6 per second. No joke. So it's very, very good. You also have your stamina at 300, which is really good. It's not the top echelons. I think that's the upper level. I wouldn't want to say elite, but they also have regeneration of fatigue at 7.5 for every second. Their speed is slower, so you have 2 Gavars. You have a MG34 right here with a belt, so that's really good as well. They're just an overall really great unit to start out with, and it's a 7 total cost for research points to be able to get this unit. So also their skill is considered elite. So elite starts at 5 weapon skill. Now the best you could even go higher than elite would be 6, 7, and even 8. It's pretty wild. We'll talk about that in a different video, but for now, just know that it's only a 7 to get to these guys. If you want to get more of an elite squad with 4 points, or not more elite than these guys, but if you wanted to go to like the veteran rifle squad, I would go that route. So a lot of people will push on the Pioneer squad. I'm a fan of I used to be a big fan of the Pioneer squad. I'm not as much now. I will say, if you want a multi-use unit, they are great. They also do have good health regeneration. That's something new that I haven't seen with them. So 2.5. Like I said, they've reworked a lot of this stuff. The thing that makes these guys so good is the fact that they have all types of equipment. You have your flamethrower guy, you have your anti-rifle or AT rifle right here, so you can take out some lighter tanks. You have the belt-fed MG34. So yeah, there's some really great units. You could definitely go this route. I would actually I guess I'm gonna go down the line of encouraging them more now, just because the HP is at 400. But yeah, really cool unit. Awesome way to start. You do have your MG nest that you can set up. You can put sandbags around them. You also have your mortars. Mortars are very inaccurate. Now, the enemy is really good with them. I wouldn't necessarily suggest them to start. When you get a little better at the game, then I would say mix them in. You can try some unique things. Flat cannons, this is more towards the meta side of things, okay? If you get the 2 cm flat cannon, I would also go with the Opal Blitz. And the reason is because that 2 cm goes on the back of the truck. It also has a towing capacity of 3, so it can tow any of the big equipments. Very, very good. Absolutely destroys destroys infantry, and it also is really good against light vehicles and light tanks. One thing I will say about it though is it is a glass cannon, so if the engine blows, it's all gone. Okay, if they hit the front of the truck, I always try to keep the back end facing the enemy, because most time you can save the vehicle even if everybody gets knocked out of it. That is definitely an option. There's only 2 points to do that. This is what it looks like. It does have that cannon. You want to have this back end facing, it's an anti-air truck, so yeah, anything that's flying up top, this thing should be able to take it out. So that's the other one I would suggest, of course. Next thing would be your field guns. I usually avoid field guns early on. You can build off of them, don't get me wrong. It's just a slower gameplay. You can set them up. If you're going to set them up, make sure that the terrain is either looking down a hill or it's more of a flat terrain. Make sure that you also put them behind bushes, for the reason that they end up getting their concealment back a lot faster, harder to spot. You can catch tanks off guard. Next thing would be the artillery pieces. Now, there's 3 artillery pieces that I want to recommend here. This 7.5 is incredible, okay? For a starting, this used to be the meta, okay? When it came to the Germans, this was the meta. You would get the 7.5 because the 7.5 centimeter comes with HE, and it comes with heat rounds as well. This is absolutely amazing in terms of the reload speed, in terms of the accuracy. It absolutely decimates squads, and it decimates trucks, okay? Any type of vehicle. Even medium vehicles, this thing does a lot of damage to them. He can mess them up pretty good. Definitely, if you want a good start, or you want to try something, I would highly suggest getting the 7.5, giving it a chance. Okay, from there, we have the 10.5, so you could go 5 points and get the 10.5 centimeter. This is disgusting. This thing is deadly accurate. Really good. Has that shield that has that plate right on the front, so you can protect your soldiers a little better. Really great range. But if you really want to get if you want a little better range and a little better accuracy, in my opinion, the 10 centimeters is a really hard one to beat. This is one of the best artillery pieces in the game. Come at me, bro, if you disagree. But it is absolutely amazing accuracy. It just shreds. It shreds anything that comes at you. Very, very powerful, very accurate. Like I said, you can get this right away. I don't know that I would get it on day 1, but if you're working towards a unit that you can build around, that's one of those units you can easily build around. So I would definitely suggest that. Just make sure that you have a 3-tow capacity vehicle, so that way you don't have to be walking it across the map the whole time. Now let's get down to the light vehicles. Now, the light vehicles, there's many good options here, okay? Starting out, if you really want to be aggressive with your points, you can give up 6 points and get the Puma. The Puma is one of the best light vehicles, if not the best light vehicle in the game. And again, come at me, bro. This is an incredible, with SJB. Him and I think we went to day 20 with these things. Well, you can absolutely build around this. They come with the canisters up top here. You have your these smoke canisters, so you can literally just shoot a wall off of smoke. It's one of the coolest things in the game. You don't see it very often, but when you're under fire, or you see danger, just pop the smoke. It goes really fast in reverse. It goes fast going forward, of course, very accurate. Just one of the better vehicles in the game. Absolutely love this. You can absolutely build around it. And if you look at the armor for the hull and the turret, it has up to 30 the armor pen. So it's incredible. So let's say the Panzer 3F, right? This has 30 armor. This has the same amount of armor as that truck. Okay. Now, granted, there's less like soft points on this tank than there is on the Puma, which I understand, because I know somebody's going to talk about that. But still, you have the speed, you have better shell. This is just overall better. If you didn't want to jump right into the 6 points, you could always go to the 231. That's a pretty heavy step back from the Puma, but otherwise you could go with this half track. Now, it is a dead end, but the thing that really makes this great is the fact that it has the towing capacity on the back of the 3 towing. so you can haul any of the big stuff. And it has the 2 centimeter cannon here that absolutely rips. It'll absolutely destroy light vehicles, light tanks. You can do some damage to some medium tanks if you get broadside or to the back. You also have the anti-air capabilities with this, where it can aim up, and it's really good at just protecting your artillery as a whole. You don't have to get this on the front line. It could be something that will that could assist you in certain capacities. But I really like this as a starter vehicle, and to get to it, it only costs 3 points. Plus, you can use the 250 in the middle here, which is a half track with MGs on it. You can throw some soldiers in there as well. Half tracks are great just because you can haul things. The other half track I would suggest is going to the 251 Ostfront D. You can hold a whole squad inside of this truck. It comes with a belt-fed MG42, so it absolutely rips. The armor is fair on the sides, not crazy, but if I click on here, so you have a total up to 14.5, which is actually pretty good for a carrier, and otherwise 8. So you're not going to be able to pen through this with a normal round to be able to hit the soldiers inside. I know that the US has more paper thin, I feel like, some of their half tracks, but this is an absolutely amazing half track. I would definitely suggest this. Even if you had to pull your soldiers out, this thing, being able to just hammer at soldiers running through a field, because you know that they're not going to be able to do the damage to you as you're going to them. I love this. If you look at my more recent German campaign, you'll see that I use this quite a bit. Very, very fun. Very, very good. You could go farther down the half track line. These are all amazing half tracks. All the different versions of the drilling. You have the flamethrower half track, all that stuff. Really good. But you can build towards those things. Just build a core and then start branching out and trying different things. Now we're talking about the tanks. So for starters, they updated the amount for the Panzer 1F. Okay, if you guys don't know this, that is freaking cool, man. New meta. This is new meta in my opinion. This tank I never get because it's just too many research points. But bro, when I tell you, I'm convicted on this. This is an incredible tank. It only has MGs right here, and it's not crazy fast. It only takes 2 people to man it. But these MGs will absolutely destroy anything in its path. It's dual MG34s, but 80 armor. You can run this thing forever. And I know how that sounds. In fact, I'm just going to do this for the sake. We're going to go like this, just so we can see how much it would cost to even get one of these out. Yeah, that's a very fair price. That's a very fair price. For 315 resources and 18 manpower, you can run 2 of these and still have enough resources to do other things. I absolutely would go this route. Only thing you have to fear with this thing is fear itself. No, but you have to fear about getting in between the tracks here on the sides and possibly the back. A lot of the armor plating on the back actually is not terrible, but it's really down in the tracks that really can mess you up. Besides that, anything that has legs or moves, this thing will absolutely shred to death. Definitely go this route, okay? That's really cool. It used to be 8 research points, and it's like, man, I would rather use 8 research points to come down the line than that. Next thing I would do is I would go to the Panzer II-L. Absolutely incredible. It has an autocannon on here. It shreds everything. I've used this through at least half my campaign. It's a great tank for taking out soldiers. It's a great tank for taking out priority targets, taking out that burst that it has, the armor being 30. It has the smoke canister, so you can do 2 walls of smoke. You could pair this easily with the Panzer 1F that I was just speaking about. Very, very gross tank, very fun tank. The only thing I knock on this tank that really bugs me is it has the MG on the turret and of course the autocannon on top, but there's nothing protecting from the hull itself. So we don't have an MG on the hull, okay? And you'd be surprised, but that can be very dangerous. If you have to reload this thing, and the reload's a little bit slower in my opinion. So you need to be very cognitive of what's going on around you while you're firing out this thing. Now another thing you could do is you could slow your roll and go with a Martyr 2. Martyr 2 will destroy everything through 10 days easy. It's just very light. It's a light open hat tank destroyer. This is the Martyr 2. Martyr 2 is disgusting, but again, the hull at 35 armor, it's not bad, but it's talking about down here. This is where you're going to have your 35 armor. Up here, these platings on the side will go right. So you really need to keep this guy back. But again, if you can look at the penetration levels here, freaking ridiculous. Absolutely destroys. And I do like that this MG34, even though it's a drum, it'll help you quite a bit, of course, only if need be. But always keep this back. Only come in to take out priority targets. Okay, so the one that a lot of people go for, and I know this was the meta for a long time. So let's say we have our 10 points. Right now we're sitting at 4. But what you could do is you could come all the way down the tree, just skip past all of this. You'd want to go to the Panzer IIIe, and the reason for it is because this has always been the meta for Germans for the longest time. This is the absolute king of shredding enemies. And this is why you may skip over the Panzer IF. The reason you would skip it over is because this thing has 2 MGs on the turret, and it also has an MG on the front, and then you have the 3.7 cannon right here. So yes, if I would say this is probably peak, just because of the fact that you have so much killing power. You can destroy anything within the first 6 days. In terms of tanks, you can absolutely destroy any kind of infantry. When you're reloading the turret up top, you're still having the front of your tank just blasting people. It's like literally 3 lasers flying right at all the enemies. It's disgusting. This is an incredible tank. I would highly suggest this being the one that you go with if you really want the peak performance start. And again, to do that, you're only going to be giving up you're going to be giving up 1, 2, 3, 5 total points. So you can either go 5 with the Panzer IF, or you can go 5 with the Panzer IIIe. So that it's probably obvious what you should probably do, but I'm just saying, if you'd be surprised how much fun this can be. And also, if you wanted to go like the Panzer IIL, that's only 3 points, and that allows you to invest in other places. Ideally, it's going to cost a lot to be able to get all of these units all at once. Let's just do a scenario where I have my soldiers now. I could do with a 7.5, or I could go with the Obel Blitz. In terms of me making the decision I made, my next move would be I would go with the 7.5, and I would go with the flak Obel Blitz. Okay. Now this is my core. We have our flat cannon. We have our 7.5. Here's how I would build this out. I would go with the Panzer I, 7.5. We got to watch that, how much money we have there, okay? But the Obel Blitz, and then we still have enough money for soldiers. Here's what I will say is it all depends on how you want to start your campaign. You don't have to go in with a bunch. I still got stage 2, so it doesn't matter. So what I would do is I would go to stage 2 with these units, throw in my soldiers, my Obel Blitz, and my Panzer I. Now, you could have switched out the Panzer IF for the Panzer IIIe, and that would be literally the same composition. The only thing is I think it costs a little more for the Panzer IIIe, but we still have a little bit more room. We have a little more money here. One of the things I like to do with that is I would go with a medic, and with the points remaining, can't go with an officer. So here's what I would do, and I'm telling you this because this is kind of a, you're going to learn. You'll learn, okay? So here we go with the tank crew. The tank crew is going to be able to, when the battle is over, then you bring the tank crew, and don't use them unless the battle's over. The tank crew will fix up all the things on the field very quickly. They only cost 22 research points. It's nothing. The medic will keep everybody alive. We do have a good amount of soldiers. Just kind of take your time, run up to the points, and use this as your main to kill everything. Okay, your Obel Blitz is going to overwatch your 7.5, but this is, to me, I would say you could interchange the Panzer I with the E, and this is peak, in my opinion, for day one. This is peak meta. Okay, anybody want to disagree? Tell me, give me your thoughts. If anybody has a differing opinion in the comment section, please let me know. Please hit that like if this video served you well, and leave a comment. That just helps with the algorithm. So thanks a lot, guys, and I will see you in the next video.